Oh, what is going on with this camera? Well, this is what we got. This is what we got today, guys. Welcome, welcome everybody to another Community Fit. Let me back this up. It's the wrong camera showing up. Um, Welcome to Community Fit. I am your host, James, and we are here today to talk about adjusting to change toolkit and some nervous system regulation work. Show of hands, anyone's first time with us at Community Fit or Adjusting to Change Toolkit? We got at least one there. Cool. Most repeat people, and then we got maybe a couple of new ones. Welcome. So we're going to catch you up as we go. This particular series, so if you're new to Community Fit, we do 6 week sessions, and this is our week number 2 session. We're going to repeat some of the work that we did last week on the toolkit, which is a series of somatic practices to help you regulate your nervous system. This series, as we talked about last week, is going to heavily focus on mental health, cognitive health, by means of one of the best mechanisms we can do for cognitive health, different variations of mindfulness and meditation. So that is what we're going to focus on. We don't focus on that always, but that's what we're doing this time. So today we are going to talk all about and kind of explore somatic meditation. So we're going to start off by revisiting the toolkit, which we covered last week, add to said toolkit, and then we're going to go right into some somatic meditation work, which is not necessarily cognitive or brain meditation work, but it's sort of meditation work in the body. It's experiencing and being focused in on sensation. And sensation in the body is precursor to emotions, kind of how we feel the vibe. And emotions are the precursor to our thought and meaning process, or how we make sense of the world. Thoughts, cognition, always starts off with feeling, then goes into emotions, then becomes a thought before it becomes an action. So that's where we're going to work, is kind of at that base level. Be patient with yourself. Give yourself permission to try and play and explore some things. And also, as we move forward with practices, if it feels like that's not where you're at today, right? If that feels like it's not, if we feel like we're moving too fast for you, or we feel like we are moving in a direction that is not preferable, feel free to pause and stay within a practice. Choice, discernment, carving out your own lane, creating a library is quite literally the point of this entire class, to help you navigate change personally and professionally. So that is where we're at, right? Let's get started. First things first, we're going to go over that toolkit and kind of explore and play. I want to review. The toolkit is 5 buckets or categories of somatic or body-based practices. The first bucket or category is breath work. Lots and lots of different tools or options that fit into that bucket, and we're going to cover a few of them. Next one is sensory foraging, or paying attention to what is coming in through your sensory system. We have therapeutic touch, we have movement, and then we have vocalization. Last week we gave like one practice in each, and we're going to kind of expand that. If you find that, like, let's say you are a movement bucket person, like movement works really well for your nervous system, what we're going to go over is not the end of all of your choices, right? It's like giving you the category of poetry. And then you can go and find other poems and other poets you like. So this is just a jumping off point. It's what we can offer right now, but it's not the full library. Also, if you don't like poetry, no big deal, because we have different genres to choose from, fiction, nonfiction, whatever it is, right? So we've got those different buckets, and you're going to find something that works well for you. And the only way you know if something is working well is by paying attention to, how do you feel after you do it? And after you do whatever the practice is, does it take you in a direction that you prefer or not? And prefer might be feel better, or prefer might be to make sense out of whatever it is you're feeling, right? To kind of unravel and explore. It could be a cathartic moment. Good doesn't always mean smiles. The way you prefer doesn't always mean like feeling better. It could be taking you closer to processing grief, processing change, processing anger, processing whatever it is, right? So, with that, let's start off with just an evaluation. Sit in your chair, sit comfortably, and just pay attention to whatever information is coming in through your body. How do you feel in this moment? How do you feel physically, or maybe cognitively, or emotionally? If you need something more specific, you could pay attention to what is my breath like right now? Does it feel constrained? Does it feel too fast, too slow, constricted? Does it feel open and soft and expansive? You could think about your muscle system, right? Like, do I feel tense and tight, or do I feel relaxed, long, supple, wide, soft? Just kind of paying attention. And then let's go into our first category. The first category is going to be breath work. Could start off with something like a simple inhale, exaggerated exhale. You can stay there or turn that into a physiological sigh. Double inhale followed by a single exaggerated exhalation. Big inhale, full inhale, exhale. And then just pause and notice any shifts and change. Notice, how do your shoulders feel now, or your breath, or the vibe, or your body? Like, how did that move you? Did it move you? Do you notice anything different in your system? And if you do, remembering one of the two breathwork techniques we just practiced might be beneficial. And if it felt really powerful, really remember it, because we are probably going to inject that into the somatic meditation that we're going to do in a bit, right? Breath work. Category number one, two practices, just an exaggerated exhale or a physiological sigh. Next is sensory foraging. Last week we covered visual sensory foraging because most of us, 70% of us, are visually oriented creatures. So visual orientation is just simply looking around your space, slowing it down, and just objectively noticing things that are in the room. And that's going to sound like there's some art and a wall and a desk made out of wood. And there's a computer and glasses sitting on top of a computer. There's a glass of water and some books. There's a plant and a mirror and more wall. There's a door and a ceiling with a fan. I'm just looking around the space, just intaking the space, noticing colors, noticing texture, above me, behind me, below me, slowing it down, and just paying attention. Or I can do it auditorily. I can close my eyes and I can listen to the sounds in the room. And I can go, what is one sound that I hear right now? How far away from me would I imagine that sound is? Where's it coming from? Outside, inside of the room, in another room? Then I can notice another sound. Is that second sound further or closer away than the first sound? How many sounds can I notice? Maybe it's like the buzzing of electrical equipment and a bird outside, a dog or a cat breathing somewhere, a TV in another room, someone else's voice, traffic outside. Here's the really interesting thing. At any given moment, there are approximately 2 million data points that you could notice, 2 million sensory input possibilities in any given moment. Colors, shapes, sounds, noises, textures, tastes, feel, 2 million. We edit out most of those and intake around 134,000 data points. And at any given time, we have the potential to pay attention to focus in on 7 of them. 2 million possibility, 134,000 enter into us, and we consciously pay attention to about 7. 7 out of 2 million. It's a lot. It's a lot we're not paying attention to. And yet our nervous system is picking up on a lot, right? That's why when we start talking about like what we pay attention to is what manifests, it's true. It's true. So what we're paying attention to becomes our reality. So sensory foraging can be visual. It can also be auditory. And that might work more or less for you than breathing. The next category is touch. So last week we talked about just bringing the hands together, getting them warmed up, placing nice warm hands either on jaw, throat, chest, belly. Could be one hand here, one hand here. Just what feels good. Introducing another variation, we could go into havening. Havening is just like a soft, gentle touch. Some options for havening include hands, upper arm, and face. Just like little strokes. Or anywhere that feels good. For me, it's always kind of like inside of the wrists. Now here, so we've got 3 categories covered, right? We've got a breath work that might work for you. We've got sensory foraging, and now we have touch. You can even start to play with like doing 2 at a time, right? I can do this and yes, havening is correct. Exactly correct, Adrian. It's a practice. You can Google havening practice and this will come up. I can do the breathing. I can also do some sensory foraging. So 3 categories covered. Category number 4 is going to be movement. Movement can be big. You can get up and go for a run, a walk, jiggle, bounce, whatever it is. Or we could just sway side to side, right and left. It's called a bilateral sway. It's very normal, natural, and healthy for your nervous system. It can be big, it can also be small. We could also do a progressive muscle relaxation technique. Progressive muscle relaxation. What is that? It's a fancy word for contract release, right? Squeeze, 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 release. Squeeze, release. Maybe you squeeze even more, like how squeeze like face and everything. Squeeze, 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 and then let it go. I could rock. I could squeeze. I could just do a breath. Some touch or orientation. The last category is vocalizations or sound. Big sounds might be singing, screaming, crying, actually articulating words. And it can start off a little more subtle. Last week we covered kind of a sigh, and it's not a physiological sigh, which is a breathwork technique. It's an audible sigh. Hmm. You're going to play with that. Sigh now, like you're letting something off of your chest. Sigh like you're mad, right? Sigh like it's happy. Hmm. Or you can hum. Closed mouth hum. Or open mouth. Any vocalization. It's quite literally moving the vocal cords, which are connected to vagal nerves, right? So we've got my vagus nerve, which we've taken classes in the past, we know is sort of the nerve of feeling, nerve of aliveness, nerve complex of expression. And vocalization sound is one of the easiest, most direct ways to kind of regulate it. It's why we it's why screaming and crying and singing are so cathartic for people. So, category number one is breath. Are you a breath person? Category number two is orientation, sensory foraging. Number three, movement. Number four, or number three, two, therapeutic touch. We have the vocalizations and we've got movement, right? So discerning which category works best for you and then which practice could be a physiological sigh. It could be like a physiological sigh. It could be a touch or a haven. It could be looking around or listening. It could be rocking. It could be squeezing, releasing. It could be a sigh. It could be a yawn. It could be a laugh. It could be a scream. It could be a hum. It can be any of those things. Pick one of them. Dedicate yourself to one, the one that seemed to work best for you, or you gravitated toward, as we now move into somatic meditation. I selected somatic meditation for us to start with because it works so well and holds hands with some of these somatic practices. Somatic meditation, right? If we're thinking meditation proper, it's usually taught from the lens of cognitive meditation. It's I'm thinking about something, I'm reciting a mantra, I'm doing a visualization. Even sometimes when we get into breathwork meditations, we count our breath or we're paying attention to the rhythm of the breath. And that's wonderful. A somatic lens on a breathwork meditation would be to notice, how does my chest feel as I breathe? How does the air that's entering and exiting my nose or my mouth feel as it enters and leaves? How does that make my back feel, my shoulders feel, my feet and my legs feel? What tension comes up, what leaves, right? The somatic meditation we're going to practice today comes from what's called a realization practice, or really just kind of embodying and paying attention to and welcoming whatever sensations come up for us as we do this, which is going to tie right into next week's meditation, which is quite literally called the welcoming practice. So we have somatic practices, we have a somatic meditation, and we're working our way up to more formalized cognitive meditations based upon what we're feeling in our body until eventually we're just up in the head doing our meditation in a few weeks, right? We're kind of step stoning. Having said that, it will be critical, pivotal, important for you to not just do what we're doing in class today if you want to continue. It's to take and learn and continue throughout the rest of the week to practice whatever it is that felt important for you today, the things that felt good and the things that felt hard for you to do, so that you can have a growth plan as we move through the next few weeks, right? So, as we explore and play today, your job is to just be open and to get curious, knowing that somatic meditation is probably one of the easier versions of meditation to do because we're not forcing and tracking and it's not a destination. It's to quite literally be with what is. Having said that, simple is not always like easy, right? Most of us have been trained not to pay attention to our body, not to sense and feel into the body. And what we're asking you to do is to do just that. So be okay with, or at least acknowledge any friction that comes up. Like, I don't want to. That hurts. That hurts physically, or that hurts emotionally. I'm uncomfortable with this. And just kind of notice that. Also, when we're getting into somatic meditation, so many people go, I don't notice anything. I cannot pay attention to, can't focus in on, cannot embody all of me or a part of me or like legs or whatever it is. And noticing that you can't notice is actually still a noticing. And it might be curious for you to go, isn't that interesting? That there's something about me that is reluctant to notice, doesn't have access to notice, can't do the thing that I'm being asked to do. I wonder why that is, right? Instead of going like, it genetically can't do that, because no one genetically can't do that, right? I've even taught somatic meditation in previous lifetimes to people with paraplegia, quadriplegia, MS, strokes, so on and so forth, right? So even when there is a nervous system block there, an inaccessibility in the nervous system, your imagination can still go there. The embodiment can still happen. And it's just interesting when it can't, right? So that's where we're going today. Here's the plan. I am now going to turn off my camera because you don't need to see me. And I know this makes for really horrible YouTube and video, but it is really important that you don't follow me in my practice and instead kind of cultivate a practice that is all your own to the sound of my voice. And that is where we are headed. So the invitation is for you to sit comfortably in a chair. Sit comfortably and just take a couple of breaths. Let yourself sink in and begin to notice your forehead and just see if you can embody, be present with the forehead. Chances are, as you do this, your view, your lens, your imagination is sort of outside of the body, like you're looking into a mirror at the front of your forehead. See if instead you can be present inside of your own head as if you're looking at the backside of your forehead. And notice any tension on the backside of the forehead. No need to fix it, no need to do anything. You're just noticing. And maybe as you notice, you do your favorite somatic practice, whether that's a breath work, a movement, a touch. And you notice after one or two of whatever it is you're doing, does that change anything about your experience inside of your body looking forward at your own forehead? Does it make the tension more, less? Is the practice of being inside easier or harder? When you're ready, can you allow your eyes to sink deeper into their socket and just kind of sink down? Maybe for the first time ever, noticing the weight of your own brain inside of your head and how that brain kind of rests down into gravity, which may make you a little more aware of your sinuses and the roof of your mouth. Noticing the width and the depth of the roof of the mouth. Noticing, does that bring up any more saliva? Any more noticing of the teeth? Any more heaviness or lightness in the tongue? Just noticing. And maybe here, doing your favorite somatic practice and noticing how it changes the experience of noticing. inside the roof of your mouth, the tongue, the teeth. Noticing the throat and the neck, the back of the neck, the front of the throat, the right and left sides, and deep inside, an esophagus that goes all the way down deep into the belly. And noticing also a second tube, the trachea, the breathing tube that goes all the way down into the chest. And maybe for the first time, just noticing that there's depth and width inside of your own body. There's space. There's space for breath. There's space for digestion. There's space. Sense into the heart. In fact, put your right hand where you believe your heart to be. As you inhale, feel the heart and the lungs get a little bigger. On your exhale, feel the heart get smaller as the lungs give the heart a hug. Inhale, it's as if the lungs kind of blossom open, the heart gets a little bigger. Exhale, the heart sinks and the lungs wrap around, envelop, and hug the heart. Here, maybe using a breathwork technique or a touch, a movement, maybe even a sound wants to come up. You just notice how being in that space makes you feel. What is present here? Taking a journey a little bit deeper down into the belly. Maybe being inside of the body, almost noticing, paying attention to the backside of the belly button. No need to judge, no need to critique, just being with, feeling the weight of the belly, softness, almost as if your whole attention, consciousness, thought process sinks out of the head, taking an elevator down into the belly. Here, maybe doing your favorite somatic practice, a breath work, a movement, a sound, a touch, or just orienting, sensing, noticing what's there. Noticing when your cognition, your awareness wants to shift back up, maybe into the heart, maybe up into the head, maybe up outside of the body. And noticing when that happens and inviting yourself to come back in, whether that's into the headspace behind the eyebrows, into the throat space, noticing the width, into the chest space, noticing the heart, or down into the belly. And just noticing, is it comfortable or uncomfortable for me here? As I support myself with the practice, how does that change? How long can I be here before my attention jumps back out, outside of me, or somewhere else? No need to critique or judge, just noticing. And when you're ready, open your eyes and just start to look around your space. That was a lot of time. It felt like a lot of time, right? And that was only about 5 minutes, 7 minutes. Feels like a lot of time to be inside. And sometimes we need to kind of zoom out now. So just looking around, orienting yourself to your space. And the homework assignment is going to be practicing that favorite somatic practice and seeing, exploring the internal landscape a bit. Oh, we got a Bob sighting. Exploring that internal landscape a bit. And everyone just wants to see this. And just how long can I be there? What comes up? What's going on inside of there? And then next week, we'll dive a little bit deeper. We'll kind of expand, create some fortitude and resilience around being within the body a little bit longer with some new techniques. I'll stick around for whatever questions you got. Alicia, I don't know if you have anything to announce, but that's what we got. Yeah, Bob is the ultimate stress relief.
I don't have any announcements. I just popped that in the chat. Bob is the ultimate stress relief. Thank you. That was a great session today. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week.
You got
Thank you,
it.
Jane.
Of course. Bye, everybody.